Hey, well, it's been a long time since we talked about our shapes, and the last time you had a math lesson, about a week ago, you created some posters to define or show what is a square and what is not a square. So let's think about some of the attributes the square has. So this student is noticing that the square always has four straight sides and that the sides are all the same. So they're all the same. Oh, they're all the same length. Let's go back the other way. Oh, you guys. There, trigger happy on my mouse pad. My goodness. Okay, so do you see in this circle, how the squares, doesn't matter how they tilted, if they have the same length sides, they're all squares. What else, though? They have to have straight sides. They have to have right angles. So their angles, do you see how this angle is the same, and the same? They have to have four of the same angles. They have parallel sides on both sides, both parallel sides, two sets, and there are no curves. So you can look at these and see why. Think about why that one is not a square. Why is this one not a square? Well, because these sides are longer than those. All right, oops. Parallelogram is another shape that we thought about. Parallelograms are really interesting. They have two sets of parallel lines. They are sort of like squares and rectangles because they both have two sets of parallel lines. But the thing that is different about them is that they can have two sets of different angles. So you can see that this one looks a little bit different than a rectangle because it has one set of obtuse angles and one set of acute angles. Trapezoids can't be parallelograms because they have only one set of parallel lines. This shape here is kind of a standard trapezoid. Let's look at a trapezoid. Oh, it's a square. There we go. There's the trapezoid. So look at the trapezoids. What do they all have in common? Well, yeah, they have one set of parallel lines. Don't necessarily have to have a right angle. They have to have straight sides. It's always closed. It is a quadrilateral because it has four sides. So thinking about what do we notice? So quadrilaterals, what is a quadrilateral? Look at these shapes and think about what you notice and what you wonder. We're going to look at this big collection of quadrilaterals and think about what are all these different shapes. This one has the same length side and right angles, so it must be square. You see any other squares? I see a couple more. Let's see, what's this shape? I think it is you're right, it's just a quadrilateral. This one too. It's not a square. It's not a rectangle. It's not a parallelogram because it doesn't have any parallel sides. It's not a trapezoid. The trapezoid have to have. There's always one set of parallel lines. Definitely not that. So this is just a quadrilateral. What else do you notice? Today you're going to be spending some time marking the shape. So you're going to play a game. So first of all, you're going to go, so we're going to we looked at all these shapes. We're thinking about what do we notice, right? So you're going to go and do a couple of different activities. You're going to drag the blue star to each shape that has two pairs of parallel sides. Parallel means they are opposite of each other. So these two lines are parallel to each other, and they go on and on and on. If you made them go out forever and ever, they would never touch. They are the same distance apart at one end as they are at the other end. These two lines are not parallel because they're closer together here than they are down here. So drag a blue star to each shape that has two pairs of parallel sides, and drag a red dot to each shape that has at least two right angles. A right angle is like the edge of a piece of paper. This is a right angle. Squares have right angles. The next slide, you're going to drag a yellow dot to each shape that has exactly one pair of parallel sides, not two, one. And drag the orange X to each shape that has four sides that are exactly the same length. So would you drag the X to this one? No, because these sides are shorter than these sides. That's it. Okay, so that's it. There will be another lesson on the next slide. Stay tuned and enjoy your shape sorting activity.